Good morning, Kentucky Chapter IPMA-HR. Welcome to the 2021 Winter Meeting in Professional Development. It is my pleasure to now introduce our chapter president, Ms. Renata Simmons.
Thank you, Robbie. And of course, thank you for always driving our IT ship, as always. Of course, we're always so thankful to have technology during this time of our new norm to meet virtually, considering it's still kind of ups and downs with trying to meet in person at this time. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 2021 Kentucky Chapter IPMA-HR Winter Meeting. Thank you for joining us, and we hope everyone's doing well out there and staying safe. And of course, it's so nice to see so many HR here and see so many HR professionals together with us today. Always feel free to reach out to us if you need anything. But today, of course, we will jump over and Robbie, we can take a look at our agenda today. We have an exciting agenda prepared for us to look at today. Hopefully you all had a chance to review it. So as you can see, we look forward to hearing from, of course, one of our very own Justice Cabinet leaders, Commissioner Cookie Cruz from the Kentucky Department of Corrections, with some of our personal development today. We will host our winter business meeting covering our old and new business, and of course, spreading the joy of giving with the 2021 holiday charity spotlight with Devon Krama from Believing in Forever Incorporated. Of course, before we move on, we like to, of course, always highlight a couple of announcements. As a reminder, like we have been doing here the past couple of months, please be sure to pay your chapter dues if you haven't already done so for this year. You can do those. You can pay those through the Kentucky Chapter IPMA-HR website. Of course, again, always thank you for supporting our chapter and participating. And of course, to show our appreciation, the folks who have already paid their dues have automatically been entered into a drawing for a chance to be selected to win one of our many gift cards later today. And how exciting. So we know folks like to win some free stuff, so good luck. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. One more last thing. We would like for you to feel free to submit any questions in our Q&A box. We'll be monitoring that. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those in that box, and we will be checking that periodically throughout the meeting. So we'll go ahead and jump in. First, I would like to introduce Commissioner Cookie Cruz from the Justice and Public Safety Cabinet's Department of Corrections. She's going to share her personal story and provide us with some information and history about her long professional service through state government here in Kentucky. And I'll just read her bio. Commissioner Cruz is a 37-year veteran of the Kentucky Department of Corrections. For the past 8 years, she served as the administrator for the Health Services Division, providing administrative oversight for the entire medical mission of the department. She's a native of small town Hardy in Pike County. Commissioner Cruz began her corrections career in January of 1984 as a correctional officer at the Kentucky Correctional Institution for Women, known as KCIW. Working her way up the security and program ranks at various institutions, she held many positions, including sergeant, classification and treatment officer, and unit administrator. In 2002, she was promoted to the deputy warden at Luther Luckett Correctional Complex, known as LLCC. And 2 years later, she was named warden of the Frankfort Career Development Center, a minimum security prison that for that period of time was located in Frankfort. Cruz went on to serve as warden at both KCIW and LLCC. And in 2009, she was named warden of Kentucky State Reformatory, the prison with the largest medical operation and highest population at that time. Commissioner Cruz is also a graduate of Eastern Kentucky University, where she received a bachelor's degree in corrections and public relations. She's a longtime member of the Southern States Correctional Association and the Kentucky Council on Crime and Delinquency. She was the recipient of the 2007 Warden of the Year Award. But more recently, in the midst of our COVID pandemic, Commissioner Cruz was named the Commissioner of Department of Corrections as of June 2020, where she currently serves. And at this time, without further ado, I'd like to present Commissioner Cruz. Thank you for joining us today. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Renata. This is kind of new to me. You know, we're living in this virtual world and you have to kind of adapt. But I want to thank you all for having me to talk a little bit about my last 37 years in the agency that I really love, and to kind of give you an idea of what we do and how we have managed through the pandemic. So just an overall view of our institute, of the department. We have 4,914 employees, much like most of Kentucky. We are short of staff too. So I won't dwell on that piece, but if we were full staff, we would have 4,914 employees. We have 628 contractors. And in our prisons, we contract out food service, medical, and we also have contractors that does our inmate canteen. We have 47,000 plus inmates that's currently on supervision, that is divided up among 20 probation and parole districts. We have 13 state-run institutions and 1 private-run institution. Our population at this moment is 9,804, but we have the operational capacity of 13,195. Because of COVID, the court systems had shut down and we were not bringing in as many people. So we're trying to rev up and try to get some of those inmates out of jail, but it's kind of slow moving, and I'll go into that a little bit more in my presentation. And this next slide is just going to show you where our probation and parole districts are, and in what counties they are and where they're located. Of course, my background mostly is prison system, and I went to prison in 1984 at Kentucky Correctional Institution for Women. You can push this next slide. I have to tell you, while that is just a beautiful administration building and you're pulling up to it, when I started back in the aughts, there was one building. It had school, it had the inmate cafeteria, it had on the top, the second floor, it had all of the inmate living quarters, and then on the third floor we had an assessment center, and we had we called it the barn, but it was a structure that was across the yard that was our recreation. On the top part, on the bottom part of it, we had a printing services that we did. And then we had another building who was honored inmates got to stay in. It looks like a little cottage. It was just a 1-story brick house, very nicely done. And outside the fence, of course, we had a minimum security unit. The thing that I remember the most when I started in corrections, all the male facilities had full uniforms. And those of us at KCIW, the females wore, and I don't know how many of you all remember Kmart. And, you know, they would have those blue smocks on. Well, we had those smocks, but except for it had a Commonwealth patch to it. And we, the men would wear a light blue shirt with a patch on it, and we wore jeans. It was very casual. And on every first Saturday of every month, the minimum security group, 5 or 6 females got chosen to go out. You could go to the grocery, or you could go to the movies, or you can go to a fast food restaurant to eat, or you could go to Kmart. So a couple of those things, and you had a 2-hour time period in which you could go out. So I learned to drive a 5-speed when I was in college, but I never drove a 3-speed on the column. So that was when I realized that you can teach people to do anything as long as you have a good teacher. So I was to take these 6 women out to the grocery and to Kmart and to White Castle to eat. And I told them, I said, ladies, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to go. I don't know how to drive this van. And they go, if you get in there, we will teach you how to drive it. And I'm thinking, okay. And so that was the day that I learned how to drive a 3-speed on the column. So in 1985, I was promoted to sergeant, and yeah, I worked primarily on the day shift, and then on the night shift, and then I had to come to day shift. That was pretty awakening because I'm not a morning type person. But as you can see from this picture, KCIW now has grown by leaps and bounds. I mean, they're up to almost 800 in population. Still have those same buildings, but they have a couple of more living areas that sits on the back end of this property. And it's located in Pee Wee Valley, Kentucky, and sits in Jefferson, Oldham County. From KCIW, I went to the Kentucky State Reformatory as a caseworker. And that shows you the structure of building. KSR has gotten really old now, and that the tall structure you're seeing there, it's beginning to crumble. But I went there as a caseworker. That's where the assessment center was, and I was assessment center caseworker. And the assessment center, any male convicted felon came through the assessment center to be processed and moved to our other institutions. Everybody except for death row. Death row went straight to the penitentiary to be processed. At the time, we had 2,200 inmates, and we had and that included the assessment center. But when you're looking at the reformatory structure, it's like 2 city blocks to the end of that institution. It doesn't look as big if you're going on 146 to kind of look to see what the institution looks like, because it's built to go backwards. We were moved out of the reformatory because they were considering doing a psychiatric center that they built a little bit later, and we were moved to Roeder Farm Center, used to be, and then it became Roeder Correctional Complex. So I stayed there for about 6 years, and then went back to the reformatory as a unit administrator. I learned a lot about mental health people, because we had in our restrictive housing unit, we had a unit 6 that had nothing but mental health inmates. And I found that in my stressful, busy day, they were the ones that I really enjoyed being about. I had one guy that was on the walk who would always, he got so obsessed with the former warden and talked about the warden killing people, and he just talked about it so vividly. And I thought, man, in his mind, he must really, really believe this. And it wasn't until I saw the movie A Beautiful Mind that I understood what he actually was seeing, and it was very real to him. Then, because I can't keep a job, I went to Luckett as a unit director, and again found myself in the restrictive housing unit, and the other part of my duties was the honor unit. So I stayed there in that position for a while, and then became the deputy warden of security at Luther Luckett. And I have a mentor that has been in and out of my life during most of my career, and that's when I learned about how you staff a prison, how you are financially responsible for taking a little bit of money that we're given every year, because it's never enough, because these prisons are old and they break down, and how you manage that with your employees and with things that are breaking down, and balancing your budget at the end of the year. So I stayed there for when that warden left, I became acting warden for Luther Luckett for a short period of time, and then I was appointed to Frankfort Career Development Center here in Frankfort, which is now the Kentucky State Police Post. So it no longer exists, but what we did at Frankfort Career Development Center is we would have inmates that would work off the yard. You can go to the next slide, Robbie. This building is where the state police post is, up on the hill on Coffee Tree Road. It's my first prison, 200 inmates. Most of the time, the guys were out at some state office building working, cleaning up, or whatever their duties were. So I spent roughly 2 years there. Again, because I can't keep a job, I went back to KCIW as their warden. You can go to the next slide. And this is what that structure looks like now, whereas we used to just have one building and you didn't have to go very far for anything, and it expanded greatly. Spent 3 years there. The most significant thing that I can remember at KCIW was we went non-smoking. Well, there was rumor of we're going to riot, we're going to turn this place out because, they didn't want to give up those cigarettes. So we had a party. I kept them on the yard till dark time. Okay, if you're going to riot, I'm going to wear you out so you go to bed. And they did. It was mostly all talk, but it too was a great learning experience for me because I got to go back to the place and where I started. Then I went up, I don't know, I guess over the years, I took the jobs that nobody else wanted. And I happened to tell my boss one day, I really would love to run the reformatory. I kind of was kidding. And then the next thing you know, it was open and they asked me to go to the reformatory. By this time, the reformatory had changed its structure. It became medical and mental health only, the whole institution. It's really hard place to manage because you have so many people that have so many needs. We have an aging population that comes in that they're sick anyway. You have people who have not been diagnosed with mental illness and they come to prison and we have to heal them mentally and physically. So after having this background, the reformatory and KCIW, because both KCIW was the only prison that was female for a really long time. Western Kentucky Correctional Complex became a female prison for a short period of time, but they flipped back to a male, but predominantly KCIW was the only prison that females went to. So you learned very quickly how to manage what you have, the population that you have. So after staying at the reformatory for roughly 3 years, this position to start a division, the Health Service Division, was formed in 2012. God puts people and places in your life to prepare you for things you don't know that's coming down the pike. And I can tell you, as I talk on, you'll understand the people and places that God put me in that I didn't know that was going to happen, and give me tools in my arsenal that I didn't know that I was ever going to have. But anyway, the Health Service Division did an oversight of all medical, all mental health, dental, pharmacy, medical health records, because all of that is contracted out. And our sex offenders treatment program, both in the community and institution, fell up under our division. I was not one that thought that I would know anything about any medical. I try to pretend like I know about mental health, but I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be heading up a medical division. I learned a lot during that time, but as time went on, I thought, well, maybe it's time to go. And it never felt right. There was always something that kind of come up and it just didn't feel like the right timing to go. And then in January, we had gotten a new commissioner and she was leaving. And I'm like, well, I'll stick around a little bit more because one of the my boss was going to be the acting commissioner, and I thought, well, I can't leave him. I'll wait a little bit longer. Then in March, we shut down for COVID. And then COVID hit the prison system. You can keep flipping in. One more. So, as you recall, in March of last year, government shut down, in other words, going home, but our prisons couldn't. Green River sits in Muhlenberg County. So one afternoon, I was sitting at home and I get this call, Cookie, we've got an inmate that tests positive for COVID. Well, let me back up. So I had worked briefly a little bit with public health on hepatitis C and had been on some committees every now and then. And then I remember maybe it was the last part of February, first part of March. I came up in Frankfurt to meet with the Deputy Commissioner of Public Health, and she mentioned that, Dr. Stack was going to come in and talk to us a little bit about COVID, because I was one of those people who was in denial. We'll be okay. It's just like the flu. So I listened to him and I thought, okay, so that's the first thing that God put in my place, is that who's going to give you help. So on this particular day, the person on the other end of the call says, we have an inmate test positive at Green River, and the health department wants to talk to you. And I'm like, are you going to find me or something? And, reality sets in, like, we don't know anything about this virus. We had our prison industry make masks. We were on the phone all the time looking for PPEs. And little did I know, for the next 21, 22 months, we would be fighting this silent enemy. We're used to riots. We're used to assaults. We're used to fighting. We're used to escapes. But this is the one thing that there's no book for us to say, here's what we do. Green River was one of the institutions that we wrote our protocols based on that. So we met with Muhlenberg County that day, and corrections is kind of used to just being low key. We take care of each other. I remember as being a warden, we thought 20% short. We're 20% short. The sky has fallen. But going into this pandemic, some of our institutions were 50% short. And coming out of this pandemic, we're worse. But at Green River, when this started, and us not knowing much about this virus, we learned very quickly that we have to think on our own. But I can tell you, the public health never left us. I always thought, if every institution that it goes to, I guess I'm going to lose my help, but they never left us. They gave us the tools we need to survive. This is when we started thinking, okay, how are we going to survive this? We've got inmates having this virus. We have staff that's going home with the virus. This virus went through our medical department twice, where we had to send more nurses down. Inmates were hiding because we knew we would put them in quarantine. And so their cellmate, I started having the nurses go door to door to door, taking temperatures, checking the O2 stats to make sure they're okay. We started mass testing, moving inmates and separating them. The negative, the positive, the exposed, and then there's a small group of people who had a vulnerable comorbidities where they would not survive COVID. We put them in the gym until we could clear them medically. They didn't have the virus, so we could move them to the reformatory. But it was a hard time for this staff, and they were the only ones that had it, and the town turned against them. it got to the point where my staff didn't want to go up in the town with any of their uniforms or anything to denote that they were tied to this institution, because the town accused the prison of bringing COVID to their town, which the prisoners didn't bring COVID to the town, but they truly believed that point. It was the struggle of, you don't pay attention about what laundry you need to do. We had to close down food service because part of our food service, we have inmates that works in there and help prepare the food. We didn't have inmates to prepare the food. We had to have staff go in. There's other institutions that would satellite feed over into Green River so that they could have at least a hot meal a day. Garbage was piling up, because that normally is a job where you would escort each dorm person out to be able to throw their garbage away. We had staff that was sick. We had people that was out at the end of the driveway, bringing attention to what we didn't know how to solve. But after several months, after testing and making sure that everybody is clear of the virus, we had inmates that passed away because there was no cure. We didn't know half as much as we know now. So, we're thinking, okay, Green River's done. We're good. Then I received a call. KCIW had their first. And then here we go again. And then the reformatory hit. And the interesting thing, if you're looking at that institution, that virus went inside that door, turned right, went down in the yard, and then it stopped. It will come back again and go inside that prison, turn left where our psychiatric center is. Then in the back of that is our nursing care facility, and it hit there. So back to back, it hit the reformatory. Then it hit just a piece of North Point Training Center, and it only hit in their restrictive housing unit, and we know how it happened. We begin to get better at how we're testing. So all of this through the summer was going on. Then in October, the virus, we got a little bit of break once we brought everybody up. And here's the interesting thing about the prisons in Odom County, which is Luther Luckett Correctional Complex, Kentucky State Reformatory, and Roeder Correctional Complex. It all sits in Odom County, and the Odom County Health Department has not only our 3 prisons, they have a regional jail, they have a hospital, and they had to attend to all of us. But anyway, in October, Little Sandy Correctional Complex got hit. Lee Adjustment Center got hit. Blackburn Correctional Complex got hit. North Point Training Center got hit again. Bell County Forestry Camp got hit. And then it hit Roeder Correctional Complex, hit Luther Luckett Correctional Complex. That's what I was dealing with this time last year, was all of these prisons have an issue. Staff getting sick, losing staff, losing more inmates. It got to the point where none of us slept very much at all, because you got those 2 a.m. calls that said, hey, such and such didn't make it. You get calls and you said, we've been lost a staff member tonight. It was a very stressful time. We were losing staff. Some just said, I can't do this. These were correctional officers who came in and said, I know I got COVID, but you're short and I feel okay. Let me just come in and work just the COVID unit. This is how great of staff that I have here, is that they all knew that we were short and these inmates were sick. At the reformatory, it was nothing for us to have 10, 12 in the hospital with COVID. Some of them were in the hospital because they were sick anyway. And that takes all of your staff out. The hospitals start working with us and saying, let's get all of these inmates together on one floor, so it cut down on the amount of staff you had. I had wardens who had to come in and run the shift because we didn't have enough people to even get the shifts run. So January of this year, COVID hit Eastern Kentucky Correctional Complex, which has 1,900 inmates in it. It worked its way down through there. Then after it hit Eastern, the virus went straight to the west, hit Western Correctional Complex and the penitentiary. So let me stop and talk about the penitentiary. While they don't have a large population, which is right around 856, it's an old institution, and they have cell houses, which everybody has their own private cell. But here's the kicker. They also have death row. And when you take a death row inmate out, you have to have 4 people and a supervisor to even transport them. So my thought process was, gee, it's in the penitentiary, and how are we going to manage taking these guys out if they get sick? And they are a very close-knit group on death row, and they take care of each other. So again, public health come in and said, why don't we get some antiviral drugs on them? And they came and did a clinic with some of the inmates at the penitentiary, because it's all maximum custody, and it'll take a lot of your staff to even transport them. So we ran a clinic, and did not have to take only but 1 inmate out during that whole period of time, because he had other health issues. In the midst of this, because we're overachievers, we opened another prison up in extreme Eastern Kentucky in Floyd County, which is Southeast State Correctional Complex. We leased this prison property from Core Civic. We started working to open this prison in the midst of COVID, which opened last December. So then we were blessed that vaccines came. And there was always a debate, will you get inmates to be able to take vaccines? And I'm thinking, yeah, you're going to take it because I need some rest. But anyway, right off the bat, we had 75% that just on the first day did a mass vaccination of our inmates. And we have since then maintained anywhere from 84 to 85% of people in our institution that are vaccinated. Because our prison population, it does one of these things that they come in, they leave out, they come in, they leave out. That number will fluctuate, but it's never fluctuated under 84%. We have started doing boosters for people who it's time for them to have it. We've done flu clinics this fall just to make sure that this population has the best rate of success this time around. We kept our testing strategy that if you're an inmate and you choose not to get vaccinated, we will test you 10% of unvaccinated inmates every week just to make sure that they are safe. If you're a staff member, we test you at the beginning of your work week, and we test you as you're outgoing of your work week. Because this was probably the worst thing that have ever happened to corrections, and having to manage a congregate setting. Many of our prisons have open dorms, and you can't separate them. You can't put that distance in front of them. So we try to keep an eye on what we should be doing to give everybody. And we open it up to the staff. You know, have reached out and said, if you want a vaccine, a flu vaccine, we'll be happy to make sure that you get that. In the midst of all of this, towards the August, of course, Western Kentucky Correctional Complex got hit again. Then KCIW got hit again. and Southeast State got hit twice. Now, I want to say that having vaccines and having them the option, because they have the option, they can say, no, I don't want it. But the thing of it is that the population did not get as sick as they got last year because of our vaccination rates. I can't say how amazing the people that work in our prisons and probation and parole have been with the population who many people don't think about, but they truly are public servants. They truly went through some stuff, because if you can imagine, they're going home to their family and they don't know if they're taking the virus with them. Many of them got COVID. Some did not make it through COVID. Some of our inmates didn't make it through COVID. So I can't say enough about how wonderful and how strong and resilient that these people that I work with are. And, you know, there's not anything I can do to express how thankful I am and how wonderful it is to lead this department. It has so many more links and so many more stories to tell and so many more programming. The thing that I've learned with COVID is that we all have to take care of each other. I think that some of our staff, while they thought at the beginning it's great to go home, work from home, and they're safe, I always try to emphasize, check on them, make them get on teams where you can look at them and make sure you're okay, because some of them were not okay. And we caught it and was able to get them some help. But this whole virtual world and your mental health and COVID, it was rough. It was rough on our inmates. It was rough on our staff. And so we always try to make sure that our psychologist was out there talking to the inmates, trying to make sure they're connected. We ended up doing Zoom visits between them and their family. I think their family really liked that piece, so that they didn't have to drive. They were able to see some family members they hadn't seen in years because they couldn't afford to come to the prison that they're at. So I say to you, thank you. Thank you for what you do. None of us have an easy job. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I think we all are unique in what we do. I hope that this tells you a little piece of what the Department of Corrections went through, a little piece of what we stand for. We take care of our people. We take care of our incarcerated humans. We try to get inmates in and back out in a better frame of mind, physically, and be able to live on their own and be able to learn some skills. So if you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I don't see any questions at this time. We'll give a few seconds for our membership if they want to send some questions. With that, we'll transition back to Renata. And Renata, I'll let you know if we get any questions in the next minute or so for Commissioner Cruz.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you again, Commissioner Cruz, for speaking with us today. We certainly appreciate you sharing your story and giving us our Kentucky chapter a great history lesson today. Of course, as well as showing us the human side of DLC. To me, it was very humbling. And I think everyone definitely learned something new today, but now has an even better appreciation for the proud dedication that you have in serving our Commonwealth of Kentucky. So thank you for being a lifelong public servant leader. And as a token of our appreciation, we have you a little something for speaking with us today, and we'll be getting that to you as soon as we can. So thank you. All right, if we don't have any questions in our box, we can now move forward to our Kentucky IPMA-HR Winter Business Meeting. Do my fake gavel. We can call our winter meeting to order now. We'll go ahead and get started with our old business, and we'll have Michelle Barnes, who will present our minutes from our last meeting. Our Secretary, Michelle Barnes.
Thank you, Renata. Everyone should receive the minutes for review Thursday afternoon. If you're not receiving meeting invites, please email me so I can update the mailing list. I know we've had a lot of address changes recently, and I've been trying to capture those. So just let me know if you're not receiving the invites. With that, we'll get started for review of the meeting minutes. The Kentucky chapter IPMA-HR held the 2021 fall business meeting on Tuesday, September 14th, virtually via Microsoft Teams. President Renata Simmons called the fall meeting to order. Renata welcomed attendees, called for review of the minutes of the 2021 summer meeting. Rebecca called for review of the Renata called for review of the treasurer's report from Rebecca Ogden. Vicki Stone, under new business, Vicki Stone, Executive Director of the Office of Diversity, Equality, and Training, reported on the 2021 Governor's Conference, the LEAD conference that was scheduled virtually for November 18th to 19th. Past President Larry Gillis provided Southern Regional updates. Larry now said he serves on the council, and the next meeting was scheduled for September 24th. Larry announced that Carrie Woodson Welch serves as the Executive Director of IPMA National, and that he would be holding regulation training on September 21st. Larry also announced his retirement and thanked him for his service for IPMA. Renata adjourned the meeting, and with that, I would like to add happy holidays to you and yours, and back to you, Renata. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Are there any corrections to the minutes as read? Anybody that's live that's on? Do we have a motion to accept the reading of the Secretary's minutes?
I move to accept.
We have a motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
A second.
Motion has been moved to accept by Robbie Perkins, and it's been seconded by Rebecca Ogden. So thank you again, Michelle. Now we'll have our treasurer's report by our treasurer, Rebecca Ogden.
Hold on. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Treasurer's report. At our September meeting on the 14th, we had a beginning balance of $12,080.86. We had expenditures of $8,913.05. We had deposits of $10,320, giving us a balance today of $13,487.81. Just to explain the fluctuation there in our expenditures and deposits, our Ticket Leap system acts as a conduit to accept the registrations for the Kentucky League Conference that's held. And so we receive the registration from Ticket Leap, and then we pay that back straight to the Kentucky State Treasury for the Kentucky League Conference. So we don't receive any benefit, monetary benefit or anything for that. We just allow them to use our setup in Ticket Leap to process the registrations. Back to you, Renata.
Thank you, Rebecca. Are there any corrections to the treasurer's report?
No corrections.
If not, do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I move to accept the report.
Thank you, Robbie. We have a motion to accept. Second. Do you have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Michelle. So we have a motion to accept by Robbie Perkins and seconded by Michelle Barnes. And thank you. We'll move on to our new business. All right. So every year, our Kentucky chapter IPMA-HR board picks a charity to spotlight for our winter meeting. And this year, we wanted to be sure to include our valuable IPMA-HR members and give each of you an opportunity to directly participate in the joy of giving. So we gave you some information when a few weeks ago, about a month ago, to be able to participate as well on your own as well. But the Kentucky-based nonprofit organization for youth called Believing in Forever Incorporated is the selected organization that we wish to spotlight this year. Its founder and director, Divine Karama, has facilitated many youth initiatives over the years throughout Kentucky. And in particular, most notable, a coat to keep the cold away, youth coat drive, and the Luna Library, as well as many other projects and programs. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Divine Karama by sharing a little bit of his bio. Divine Karama is a hip hop artist, educator, community activist, and motivational youth speaker from Lexington, Kentucky. He is the new director of the mayor's anti-youth violence program, One Lexington. He is also the founder of a Kentucky-based nonprofit organization for youth called the Believing in Forever Incorporated. In December of 2018, Divine performed outside in the cold for 48 hours straight to raise awareness for his annual youth coat drive, a coat to keep the cold away. Over the last 7 years, Believing in Forever has facilitated the collection and delivered over 10,000 coats to children in Central and Eastern Kentucky. Other Believing in Forever initiatives include Dads on Campus at Kentucky State University, Sons of Single Mothers Mentoring Days, Senior Summer Jam, Fresh Water for Flint Water Drive, Community on the Corners, Poetry in Motion Youth, Strive for Success Youth Tutoring Sessions, and more. In 2020, he started the Luna Library in memory of his late daughter, Kamaria Spalding, which provides free Black history and character-focused books for children within the Lexington area. He is also featured at the University of Kentucky, where he teaches a course called Lyricism and Leadership, Hip Hop and Community Change. I now present Divine Karama and welcome and thank you for your presence today.
No problem. Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Just thankful for the opportunity to share. I'll be honest right away. I told Renata this is literally the busiest time of my life. Every year we're right in the fourth quarter of our coat drive, and then obviously my new job in the mayor's office. But any opportunity that I get to kind of share the stuff that we're working on and bring new people into the fold, I want to take advantage of that. And so I won't take too much time because I got to get back to work. But I do want to let you know some of the stuff that God has blessed us to work on. And so just a little bit of background about me and what kind of inspired me to get into the work that I do. I am a hip hop artist by trade. I fell in love with hip hop in 1989 as a 9-year-old listening to Big Daddy Kane. And so hip hop is at the foundation and core of everything I am as a person. But when I got into adulthood, I was really struggling. I had my 2 daughters a month and a half apart. I was young, 19, 20 years old. Didn't finish college. The things that my parents wanted for me, the things that I wanted for myself didn't really happen that way. And so I was kind of in my late 20s, to be honest, just kind of lost. And my path was very unconventional. And so I just didn't really feel like I could reach any of my goals. I felt like it was too late. I felt like I didn't have a solid foundation. And so Renata read some of my bio. And one thing I tell young people that I talk to on a regular basis is everything in my bio came after the age of 30, everything. And so that is kind of what gave me my purpose, which led me to creating Believing in Forever in 2014. with the mission and purpose of helping young people who come from unconventional backgrounds and still pushing them towards leadership. Everybody may not have a college degree. Everyone may not come from money. Everybody may not had a life that looked like a Hallmark card, but it doesn't mean that you can't be a game changer. It doesn't mean you can't be a leader within your community. And so our pillars are community service, obviously expressive art, with me being a musician, and mentoring are the things that we use to try to inspire, motivate, and build the capacity of young people who want to be leaders. And so I guess in a nutshell, I got tired of rapping about positive stuff, and I actually wanted to do some positive stuff in the community. And so I made that transition a few years ago. And so I would love to talk about some of the initiatives and programs for each pillar, and then kind of what we're working on now, and then maybe how that informs my work in the mayor's office. And so I mentioned expressive art, me being a hip hop artist, being a big part of Believing in Forever's mission. One thing that we do is we do a youth open mic. It's called Poetry in Motion Youth. We started that a few years ago. In working with young people and being a mentor, I've just found that they don't really have too many outlets where they can be authentically honest about what they're going through. Really found that out during the pandemic. As adults, you know, we're a little more seasoned in our faith. We've had lifelong friendships. You know, we're a little bit more mature. But these kids don't have those things to lean on. They don't always trust their parents to tell them everything. Obviously, when you're a teen, friendships come and go. And so where do you go with all of these heavy traumatic experiences that you're dealing with? Whether it's you haven't seen your biological dad in 6 or 7 years, whether it's a family member dealing with substance abuse, whether you're living in poverty, you're going through a global pandemic, you're confused about the social unrest. Where do you go with all of those heavy things? And we found that music and poetry and writing can be a great outlet for these young people. It's almost a form of therapy, to be honest. And so Poetry in Motion Youth is something we've invested in. Another project that we worked on during 2020, which I'm excited to continue this. I had the opportunity a few years ago to teach a hip hop and leadership class at the University of Kentucky. And the basis of that class was we took a theme that people living in underserved parts of the community are dealing with. Maybe it's substance abuse, maybe it's violence. And we took that theme and we talked about it, and we flushed it out, and we learned kind of the different layers of those challenges within those communities. But then we challenged our class to create a hip hop album based on that theme. And so it was a pretty cool experience. It was people that, you know, weren't even friends of hip hop, or excuse me, fans of hip hop that took the class and were writing lyrics and you know, getting in the recording booth. We had a lady, we call her Mama Lou, 70-year-old white woman spitting bars in the booth, you know, and so it was a great experience. And so we took that model and we said, how can we apply this to the community? And so one thing we did in 2020 is we got 3 college students, all Black women, from the University of Kentucky. And then we took 3 high school students middle school students from Crawford Middle School in Lexington, and we brought them together, and they created what is called the Black Woman Project. And it is a 6-song EP talking about the challenges of growing up in Lexington, Kentucky as a woman of color. I did not facilitate that because I didn't feel like it was my place to. I just kind of created the platform, and our college ladies mentored those young middle school kids, and they created an incredible body of work. And it is available everywhere, Spotify, Apple Music. So that's definitely something you all got to check out. but the parents just talked about how impactful that was for them to have a platform to say some of this stuff that has been on their hearts and their minds. And so we want to duplicate that. We want to use hip hop, something that all of these kids, or a lot of these kids, are interested in, but unfortunately a lot of the popular music that's out there is degrading to women, or perpetuates drug use and violence. And so with so much of that out there, how can we take the same beautiful culture that hip hop is and use it in a positive way? And so again, expressive art is just a huge part of what Believing in Forever is about. For our next pillar, which is probably my favorite part, my oldest daughter would say it's because I act like a big kid, but it's mentoring. Mentoring is a huge part of what Believing in Forever does. So our kind of signature program is our Sons of Single Mother mentoring program. And we've been doing that for the last 7 years. We got a group, and it usually fluctuates each year. Some of the kids age out and go to college, some move, we get new ones in. But usually we are engaging anywhere from 30 to 50 boys in the Lexington area, all that are living in homes without a consistent father figure. Some have never even met their biological dad. And so you can look at the statistics, they're out there. Children, without fathers in the home are more susceptible to premarital sex, to drug use, depression, and there's statistics to back all of that up. And so kind of using the It Takes a Village mantra, we have got about 30 to 40 men from the community that we use to engage our Sons of Single Mothers mentoring program. So each week we'll take them out on an outing. We'll teach them how to tie a tie. We'll do some conflict resolution workshops. We'll just take them to Malibu Jacks and spend time with them, and just to be a presence in their life. And then obviously we follow up with them throughout the school year, and we stay in touch with them. And so that's a program that's continued to grow, and we've been able to pull in a lot of community partners and a lot of men from the community into that program. And so another part of the mentoring piece is our in-school mentoring program. I don't know if anybody has a background of working at a middle school or a high school, but it's tough, and we put a lot on our educators. And so there's so many things that our young people are trying to navigate that maybe teachers don't have enough time to really touch on those things in the classroom because they're trying to educate. And so that's where we come into play. And so, I got a weekly mentoring program where I come in with primarily with a group of boys, and we talk about, everything that they may not have a chance to talk about in the classroom. And so mentoring is a big part of what Believing in Forever does. And then finally, and this kind of goes into what we're doing right now. Community service is a huge part of what Believing in Forever stands for. We're always trying to be reactionary to whatever the community needs. And so, when we did our Flint water drive back in 2017, that wasn't in our initial mission. We didn't have a crystal ball, but we saw a need and we wanted to react to it. And so we always try to keep space open for us to be able to react and be a blessing to those that might be in unexpected need. We do community cleanups. And then obviously right now we are in the middle of our big coat drive, which is called a Coat to Keep the Coat Away Youth Coat Drive. And this is our 8th year. When we started our coat drive, I was laughing with my wife about this yesterday. We gave away 50 used coats. That was 8 years ago. And now it has grown to the point where this year we have over 3,000 requests. And obviously we do only brand new coats now. And so we not only serve kids in Lexington, but we serve all surrounding areas. And then we branched out to Eastern Kentucky 3 years ago. When I start really, praying, really looking at the dynamics of our state, learning that some of the poorest places in America are in Eastern Kentucky, we wanted to be a blessing to them, especially as it continued to grow. And so we service not just Central Kentucky, but Eastern Kentucky as well. And so now, after this year, we will have given away over 16,000 brand new coats over the last 8 years. And so it's really been a blessing. I would say 80% of our requests come directly from family resource centers at the schools. We got a great partnership. And so they provide us with a list of kids who need a coat, and then we fill those requests. The other 20% just comes from the community. It might be a single mother of 4. It might be a grandmother on disability raising her grandkids, just whoever is in need. And so it has grown so far beyond what I ever thought it would be. But it definitely puts the season in perspective. And even though it's a lot of hard work, we enjoy it. It's everything that Christmas and the holidays is supposed to be about. And then I guess I'll close with, something that's dear to my heart. And obviously me and Renata go way back, and she knows my late daughter's mother. But we started a book project called the Luna Library in memory of my late daughter, Kamaria. And Kamaria was 18 in 2020, and she passed away in a car wreck. And so when she was a sophomore, she wrote a grant that was actually geared towards her ultimate goal was to create a freedom school. And if you ever have time to research what freedom schools were and how important they were to the African American community back in the 50s and 60s, that's what she wanted. But ultimately, for this grant, she settled for having free African American heritage classes at the Carnegie Center for the community. But she wanted the focus to be pre and post-slavery. She was like, the stories of slavery have been told a million different ways, but she wanted to focus on the lineage of African Americans from where they come from, but then also focus on those that have succeeded post-slavery. And so, we partnered on that. She was very big on diversity and inclusion, being a part of the LGBTQ community as well. She was becoming so vocal. If you go to her Facebook page now and her Instagram, you can see where at 16, 17, 18, she was just so vocal. And she was just starting to really get to it in 2020 when so much of things that probably will shape our country forever were beginning to happen. And so she left us right when she was really getting in her bag and really coming into her own. And so, when she left us, I wanted to keep her legacy alive. And so Kamaria means moon. That's what her name means. And Luna was her nickname. And so we created the Luna Library. It is a book program of all Black character focused and Black history books. And they are free to the community, obviously to kids of all races and colors. I just felt in 2020, with all the unrest going on and everybody so confused and not understanding, especially our young people, I just wanted more diverse books that encouraged and uplifted our kids of color. Then also I wanted, more books that could provide context to our young white kids who are wondering, why are people marching in the street? What is going on? Why can't we get along? Am I not supposed to like that person, or am I? And so what better way to do that than to educate and bring those kids together than through literature? And so we gave away over 1,500 books in less than a year. And because of that momentum and because of the connection it was making with the community, the Lexington Public Library, we ended up announcing this on our birthday on November 30th. is going to partner and be the host for the Luna Library moving forward. So we'll still continue to do story times and book projects, but the Black History section within the Northside Public Library will now and forever be known as the Luna Library. And so, you know, that hits me right here. And so just to know, you know, my baby girl's legacy will continue on. And so, you know, in a nutshell, believing in forever is just that. I'm not going to be around forever. You all are not going to be around forever. But what makes us forever is new generations continuing to come. And so if we want a better present, want a better future, we have to invest in young people. And that's what believing in forever means. So if you do believe in forever and you want things to carry on and you believe in legacy, you got to invest in young people. And so that's all I got.
You all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Devon. Whew, got tears in my eyes because I told Robbie and them when we were on our board meeting that we just wanted to focus on highlighting something having to do with youth. Of course, youth hits home to me too. So we just appreciate and thank you for being a part of our IPMA-HR winter meeting today and allowing us to help shine a spotlight on your organization. Of course, we value people like you who take pride in uplifting and giving back to our communities. So we just wanted to just take this time to say thank you for what you do. And of course, anyone who is interested in and from his website and all the social media sources, you can look at all the information and everything that they do. If you're interested in personally volunteering and donating in some way, please visit Believing in Forever online through their website. Also, feel free to follow them through their multiple social media streams as highlighted on that slide. Again, thank you for your time. And of course, at this time, do we have any questions from anyone, Robbie? I don't think so.
No questions, but a lot of good feedback and compliments to all the good work you're doing, Devon. So appreciate it.
I appreciate that. No problem. Again, thank you all just for the opportunity. I'm a worker, and so I don't get too much time to actually talk about what we're doing. And so this felt good just to be able to share what we're doing. And so, like I said, I'm easily accessible. So just reach out. And again, thank you all.
I think Michelle has a question. We have Hold on, Devon.
Okay.
I see a question. Is there a program for young girls?
And so my wife is working on that. She actually is the new director of Black Achievers, but before taking that position, she had something called She's Lit. And the lit stood for living in her truth. And so as a girl dad, I would love to have a bunch of girls, you know, but you know, that's not really, you know, my purpose. And so my wife actually does a lot of great work with young girls. And so you know, we partner a lot. She has a girl power book club. She's got the She's Lit mentoring program. And then obviously she's doing a lot with Black Achievers. And so good question. I got enough girls at the crib. No more girls.
All right, thank you. So at this time, of course, like we said, as a tradition, we always spotlight and highlight. And so on behalf of our Kentucky Chapter IPMA-HR Board and members, we would like to present you with a monetary donation to support your mission and Believe in Forever. So we will be sure to get that to you. And again, we just wanted to say thank you for sharing with us what you do and for speaking with us today. And of course, I look forward to more things in the future and hopefully getting more involved. So thank you for your time. All right, guys. Whew. Sorry, that's a little emotional for me, so bear with me. But anyway, before we jump into some more fun now to kind of lighten things up, of course, again, another reminder again about please be sure to to pay your chapter dues. Again, as you see that, we're also not just about, just the everyday thing, but we also just, like to try to get out in the community and help in some way and be a support to our community. So I take pride in my position here and appreciate you all and elected me with being the president this year. And so again, just in any way that you can get involved with our Kentucky chapter, feel free to get involved. There's always tons of ideas. Of course, with COVID, there's been a lot of, struggles here lately, being able and restrictions of what we can do. But also feel free if you all have any suggestions on things that our chapter could do. Just feel free to send us an email, let us know, visit our website. And of course, the strength of our chapter comes from active participation and inclusion of our members. So we appreciate you. And again, if you have not paid your dues, be sure to pay your dues. And so with that being said, let's have some fun, some trivia fun. And then after that, we'll do some gift card drawings and see who our lucky winners are today.
All right, so we are going to go through the trivia questions, fun little interactive exercise with Mentimeter website. So if you all will go to menti.com and use the code that is on the screen there, we will begin shortly. As you see, the first question up is, given the choice for Christmas dinner, would you rather have ham or turkey? Links and code are also in the announcements Q&A section. This one is a percentage, so it looks like it's all across the board. Next question. What is the highest grossing holiday movie of all time? All right, looks like a lot of people knew the correct answer there. The correct answer is Home Alone. If you were really good and Santa left you a new vehicle, which color would you rather have? All right, it looks like blue outweighs red on a color of a new car. I hope someone gets that gift from Santa. Next up, which fairy tale inspired the first gingerbread houses? All right, everyone got that one right. Hansel and Gretel. What country is the poinsettia with its red and green foliage native to? All right, very good. The correct answer is Mexico. Next up, what was Frosty the Snowman's nose made of? Coal, silly putty, or a button? All right, that's our time. Very good. Correct answer is button.
Makes you want to sing the song, Robbie.
Yeah. Next up, for a classic Christmas show, would you rather watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Frosty the Snowman? All right, that's our time. It's pretty close there. Stuck. If you were Santa Claus, would you rather have the kids leave you cookies and milk, or cheese and wine? No surprise there. Wine and cheese is the winner.
Santa must be stressed out.
Which holiday is called the Festival of Lights?
Adam Sandler is singing in my head.
Going to give a few more seconds. Anyone want to change your answer? I don't think people are getting my little hint. All right, the correct answer is actually Diwali, an Indian celebration, the Festival of Lights.
I think it could be both too, Hanukkah too.
I disagree.
It's
I
both.
disagree with that one.
Is it both?
It's both.
Adam Sandler says Hanukkah is the festival of lights. That's in his song. Yeah.
It's
Well,
both.
I think, Renata, when we set these up, you had both, and I Googled, and Google says Diwali. So
Okay.
we got two winners. He can't be wrong, right? All right, next up, for a Christmas gift, would you rather receive cash or a gift card? All right, definitely looks like cash is king with this question. All right, which country did eggnog come from?
How many people are out there Googling while we're answering these questions? When you don't know, ask Siri.
All right, that's our timer. Correct answer is England. All right, another if Santa. If Santa brought you some adult beverages, would you rather have bourbon or wine?
Curious to see if Bourbon Country wins.
I was just about to say, where's my bourbon buddies?
Scotland.
I'm really surprised. Well, bourbon's catching up a little bit. There we go. Oops. All right, next. Which Hollywood actor played 6 different roles in the Polar Express?
Had to sit back and watch the movie in your head, didn't you?
I like the Santa one. All right, very good. All those Tom Hanks answers coming in. Well, I was behind the scenes. I was behind the scenes in that one.
Okay.
All right, next up, in the classic Christmas movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Grinch was described with 3 words. What are they?
Everybody's gonna wait on one person to write them. Pleasant, hairy, grouchy.
All right, very good. Stink, stank, stump. Another Santa left you a gift you really didn't want. What would you rather do? Keep it or regift it? We should have done a statistical one and asked how many people have regifted gifts. Looks like regifting it is a popular option. All right, Renata, turning it back to you. That was fun. Thank you all.
Some good questions there. That was fun. Well, we're not done with the fun, so we are now going to jump into some more fun of our drawings. So we actually decided to do 2 sets of drawings this year. First one that we want to do is we wanted to highlight some of our newest IPMA members that have just joined. So I know that we're not traditionally meeting in person, but we thought it'd be good to at least highlight those folks and at least let you see some names of the newest folks and kind of give them an opportunity to. Normally we would give out some Grover Dale would say, some IPMA swag, but we're going to do this spin the wheel like Wheel of Fortune, and we're going to do a few drawings to see who our lucky winner from our newest members are. So you can see some of those new members on there. Robbie, go ahead and give it a spin. Can't hear it, Robbie.
Oh, shoot.
Marjorie Payne. Rebecca, you talking and we can't hear you?
I was just saying that if you had noted what agency she was with.
Oh, hold on. Just a second.
I could probably tell you.
If you want to look up
Just
in
right
global
here.
real quick.
I have a list right here.
It's CHFS.
All right.
Thank
Ready?
you, Michelle.
Go?
Let's
Ready,
spin her
Renata?
again. So then we're going to do some $10. These are going to be some $10 gift cards. There we go. Ashley Skillern is the winner. Where's she from? Where's she working at now?
She's at KDE now. She's at KDE now.
Awesome. All right, Robbie, let's give us our third and last lucky winner of our spin the wheel. Wheel of Fortune. Looks like Timothy Dean. Where's Timothy Dean from? Welcome, Timothy Dean.
I don't have that written down. Not sure.
Let's see.
CHFS.
He's with CHFS. All right, CHFS representing today. All right, so those were some of our new members. And so our second spin the wheel drawings will come from all of our current paid members. So of course, we always try to give everyone an opportunity to win. So, and we also did still leave those ones in there, our newest members, but you may have a chance to win again. But let's spin it, roll it, Robbie.
Thanks.
So tiny, can't see, huh? Catherine Reed. Now I know where she's from. She's from Justice. All right, Kat, congratulations. Welcome to IPMA. Well, you've already been there. All right, Robbie. It's gonna be, John Brown. Where's John Brown from? You laughing.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
He doesn't work for the state. That's John Y. Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Did you think he writes our Amazon gift card, Robbie? He's a
What's that?
sponsor. A
right,
sponsored
so we can-
member.
Yeah, he is a member. John
He is a
Roberts-
member. He paid membership.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, spin it again. These are $25 gift cards. Oh, keep spinning, keep spinning. Troy Reynolds. Who's Troy Reynolds from?
He's KDE, I think. KDE.
Awesome. So is that 3, Robbie?
That
Yes.
was 3.
All right. Congratulations to our winners. Again, we thank you for being active participants and participating. That's a little bit of fun. Try to lighten things up a bit. We know that all of our HR folks have been super busy, especially this past year and a half, almost 2 years we're into COVID. So we just wanted to kind of lighten things up, have a little bit of holiday fun, snowflake trivia as we have out there, and give you all a little bit of fun with our spin the wheel. So we just want to say congratulations again and thank you all for participating. So we will give a few more announcements and then we'll wrap things up if no one has anything else to share today. A few announcements that we wanted to make. As far as we're shooting to have another 2-hour virtual meeting session in February. We will more than likely have ethics. Katie Gabhart will come and speak with us on that day. And we're also looking to get someone else that we're working on. So we'll have more details to come on that. So we'll do another 2-hour short virtual meeting in February. And then we're still looking forward to trying to have an in-person annual conference, probably looking at May of 2022. So we are working on that, and so we'll have more details to come on that too. Of course, like I've said, it's still kind of up in the air, these new variants coming out. So we're hoping and praying that we get to have some in-person conference this year. So details will come for that. Lastly, we have just updates on our Southern Region and International IPMA-HR. Let's see, Southern Region is looking to have an in-person conference in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in either May or June. So be looking for that information to come. As far as I know they haven't locked in a specific date yet, so hopefully more information will come soon. And then as far as nationals, we don't have anything else to report right now, so that's all that we have. And again, we just want to tell you thank you all for coming out with us today. Do we have any other new business, or are there any questions in our chat box or any comments that anyone has at this time?
No.
Nope, no comments. Well, again, thank you all for attending. Thank you for your continued support of our chapter. And of course, we'll be in touch soon for the next event. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. Second. Thank you. Motion to adjourn in second. Again, thank you all. So with there being no further business at this time, the winter business meeting of the Kentucky chapter IPMA-HR is now adjourned. Again, we hope you stay safe out there and well, and thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. Ring my bell.